Good morning. It's Mr. Opinionated coming to you this morning to talk to you a little bit about sex. You know, at opinionated.com, we are discussing the subject, the topic of sex. What does sex mean to different people? Should we even be engaging in sex before marriage? Being truthful and honest, yada, yada, yada. So today we're going to talk about being truthful and honest. And I picked this particular topic because what is everybody talking about? Everyone's talking about Usher Raymond and a $1.1 million payout, I believe, that Usher paid to a young lady that he allegedly gave herpes. Now, it's an old case, but you know the internet, people find an article and you dig it up and it's new again, which is also a learning point to talk about, because I believe there's something good in everything bad. There is a rainbow to every dark cloud, and there are a lot of dark clouds today, and I'm supposed to be traveling out on a plane. What's up, brother Onye? What's up, sister Mahogany? So we're going to talk about Usher and this sex gate, this thing that is going on. Once again, it's not a new topic. It's something old, but it's new again because many of us didn't know. Now let's talk about being honest. Didn't know about Usher. Yeah, it's all over Mahogany. It's all on the net. People are talking about it, and apparently he's paid out this young lady about $1 million, paid her medical bills because he allegedly gave her herpes. He had a scare. I believe, I don't want to get graphic, there was like a discharge and he told her that he got it taken care of and he was okay, and she continued having, I guess, I'm not sure if it was unprotected sex with him, and she got sick, went to the doctor and was told that she had herpes. So he ended up paying out money. And we know that with herpes, you cannot get rid of it. It is something that goes dormant and basically something that you have. But let's kind of talk about being truthful and honest. Whenever you engage in sex, you are taking a risk. We all know that. We're all adults. And for the teens that are watching it, just know that you are taking a risk. Now, I will encourage people, of course, now that I'm older and I'm trying to be more stringent practicer of my faith, let's abstain. Abstain. Abstinence. There used to be large conversations about abstinence. People that had political push started pushing and the abstinence talk went away. But it does not mean that we should have stopped talking about it. I work in an elementary school. Believe it or not, people start having sex in 5th and 6th grade. 5th and 6th grade children are having sex in some form, and I'm not talking about kissing. I'm talking about oral sex. I'm talking about teens that are engaging in anal sex so that they don't have to have vaginal sex as a way of keeping their virginity. So we need to talk about the subject, and we need to be open and honest, and we need to be clear with people, especially our young people, because it is my fear that things are going to start to come to surface as generation this is not Generation X, the millennials. Well, Onye says you always pick some very good topics. Thank you. What's up, Tangi? Good morning. I believe that once these younger people start getting older, I believe that stuff is going to start pouring out of the woodworks in regards to their sexual status, because, you know, we live in a very sexualized society. You use sex to sell cars, you use sex to sell clothes, you use sex to sell television. I don't know what they don't use sex to sell, so we have to talk about it. But let's get back to being truthful and open and honest. When you're dating somebody and you have an STD that you cannot get rid of, you're being medicated for it, it's something that won't go away. It could be HIV. You could be undetectable. When do you tell the person that you're dating that you are a carrier or that you have something that may affect the rest of their lives? So that's the question. Tangi, Mahogany, Anye. Who else came in? I'm scrolling a little bit. We got Anthony. When do you tell somebody that? When is the... What's up? Good morning, Steve. What's up? Good morning, Nini. When is the appropriate time to tell somebody, you know what? I have such and such, or I am carrying this, and it's not active, or I'm undetectable. When is the appropriate time to tell people that? And should you tell people that? According to California law, which I believe this is where this happened with Usher, that it is illegal to engage in sex. I'm not sure if it's sex or and unprotected sex. Good morning, Anthony. And not let the person know that you are a carrier. So it is illegal. But I believe Usher's legal standpoint is saying that he believed that he did not have it. I believe that's what his lawyers were arguing in the case. But we need to start to be open and honest with people. We need to, especially if we're having sexual relations with them. Mahogany said, I believe it should be expressed and exposed immediately. That's what I believe. I believe that you should tell the people as soon as possible. However, you know, there are some people that say, you know what, you shouldn't get, you normally don't have that conversation right away. Because a lot of people are in fear that they'll be demonized. A lot of people feel that nobody will want to date them or nobody want to talk to them. And right, Tangi, if you care about somebody, I believe that you're going to express that. And I don't know if Usher cared about this person. Doesn't know if it's somebody that he was with exclusively. Based on what happened, I would believe not. And based on him being a celebrity, he's probably sleeping with multiple people. Mahogany said it's not like telling someone you have kids. Exactly. Can you make the kids disappear? I mean, if you're watching Flowers in the Attic, she tried it. But in reality, children are something that you just can't lie about. And if you are engaged with someone sexually and you're getting to meet them on a deeper level, you would think, good morning, Reginald, good morning, Travis, you would think that this is something that you would tell people, that you would talk about. It says, how can I experience you if you're hiding something? Exactly. You can't. So the whole relationship, the whole companionship is built on a total lie. So now you have this young lady that has herpes, which you can't get rid of. Of course, she's gotten $1.1 million from Usher. However, we know that medical bills can be costly when you don't take care of stuff. And this has affected not only a glimpse in her life, and $1 million, of course, to me and you, who don't have $1 million laying around in their bank accounts, that's a nice chunk of money. However, over the span of our life, if you add up like all our money, $1 million has traveled through our hands. And this is something that is going to affect this young lady for the rest of her life. If she wants to marry somebody, she needs to disclose it. Everybody that she needs to date, she has to disclose it. If she does not have the same doctor and she's being treated, she needs to disclose it. So she has to go on with a life of disclosure of something that she didn't necessarily ask for. Someone gave this to her because they were not truthful in their relations with her, which is absolutely terrible. Tangi says it's very important to protect yourself because folks don't care. Absolutely, what I was going to get into. So what responsibility do you have to protect yourself? Or are people still, in 2017, are people still using this frame of thought that I'm going to let them take care of that? Some people are. It's like, well, he wore a condom, or she said she was on birth control. She said she was on a pill. She said she couldn't get pregnant. People are really not protecting themselves and giving all the information, because we know there's tons of information, there's tons of clinics, there's sex ed. I remember we were in high school, Tangi, they had sex ed was in schools then, and some of them were really good at giving you information. But people this day and age are still not protecting themselves, obviously. They're not having these crucial conversations with these people who they're engaged in sexual activity with. A lot of them are saying, it's the heat of the moment. I didn't think about it. But if there is something that you can get that you cannot get rid of, that you're going to have to treat for the rest of your life, that's going to affect the quality of your life, then it is probably wise to have this conversation. And then there's some people, just like with other medical conditions, some people just don't want to know. Some people don't want to know. They're like, I don't want to know. I just want to live my life. I don't want to have to think about it. But when you're not thinking about it, what's going on inside of your body, it can affect somebody else. Just like if you have a cold, for instance. You got a cold, you're hacking, you're coughing up phlegm and all this, and you really need to be at home, and you going to work, coughing over the office, making everybody sick, because you're not thinking about other people, you make everybody else sick. The same thing applies for a small cold as something big as herpes. And Tanya says, that's where I learned a lot about diseases. Right. I think Mr. Shannon was my sex education teacher. He was actually my division teacher too. But it's terrible. Of course, you have all the memes now. You have the songs that he's created, Let It Burn, and all of this. But somebody's life has been affected because someone else chose not to be open and honest. And testing. Do people get tested regularly if they're single and they are if they have multiple sexual partners? Are people getting tested? I don't think they are as much, because a lot of instances of this are happening. A lot of people are catching stuff, and I believe that people just don't want to know, and in not knowing, you are putting other people at danger. And there are things that you can wear condoms. You can protect yourself, and you can still get things like and I'm trying not to turn this into a sex education class, but you can get crabs if you use a condom, and you can get other stuff, and people just are really not protecting themselves. So I believe, of course, when I first started talking about sex, I believe when you're getting to meet somebody, I believe you should be abstinent. I believe that, and going into things, just like Mahogany said, you need to have conversations up front and personal. Be like, what, if we're getting to know each other, and that's what you truly want to do, sex is not a factor within the first couple of months. And let's take it a little bit further. We need to start asking people what their intentions are early on. I mean, we have this thing where we said, we don't want to scare people away talking about marriage, but asking somebody what their intentions are when dating. Are you just dating for companionship? Are you dating to have somebody to go to the movies with? Are you dating so that you can have somebody to eat dinner with on occasion? Are you dating with the intention of getting to know someone on a level that can take you toward marriage? Asking these conversations, of course, you may not ask it on the first date. You may not ask it on the second date. But by date 3, if someone is actually interested in you, then it's probably good to have these conversations. Let's be open. Let's be honest about what's going on with our bodies. We do not want to pull people into our drama. And I'm really big on that, because we all know what's going on in our lives, and whether it's sex, whether it is you're in a you're still married, because a lot of people are still married when they have started other relationships and they're carrying baggage over. So whatever you do in life that involves somebody else, especially when it involves someone who you are getting sexual with, and once again, I believe that when you are initially getting to meet people, I personally believe sex wrecks things like that. Of course, there are other men that will tell you, I'm going to have sex. I'm not going to judge you if you do it on the first day. And I can just say that is baloney. Men are more sexualized. Not to say that women aren't sexual, but I believe that men have a stronger urge to have sex. So sometimes they're going to tell you things just so that they can get it. And most of them don't want to wait, and they'll say things that they'll pressure you, and they'll make you feel like you're doing something wrong. And you have to be able to say, and I guess this applies for men and women, you got to be able to say, you know what? If I'm not worth waiting for, then go and do what you're going to do. But if I still want to talk to you after that, then we need to go to the clinic and we need to get tested and we need to see what's what. Because if you're not being exclusive with a person, they could be doing anything with anybody. And that's what it all boils down to. Of course, when we're married, things may be a little different. There are some instances where people will step out on you when you're married, so I do want to put that disclaimer out. But for a lot of reasons, I do advocate marriage. It's just, you have a little bit more oomph. You got a little bit more legal power. If you are spiritual or religious, you have that spiritual covenant. I just believe you have a little bit more. But let's be honest. Let's be open and honest with people. Let's have conversations. Let's stop just hopping in bed with people just for the moment, just because it feels good. Because I'm pretty sure during the process of Usher being with this young lady, it felt good in the moment. But afterwards, a lot of times we push stuff. We push sex, we push risky living, we push partying, but we don't talk about the after effects. We don't talk about the consequences. We don't talk about what can happen. So let's start talking about what can happen. I mean, God bless this woman. Now she has to manage this condition for the rest of her life, unfortunately, and she does not have the finances that Usher has, and she does not have the network that Usher has. Now, this is going to affect him greatly because we know that his fan base is female for the most part. And now you are selling a sexual image because, Usher, six packs and he sings songs that are, sexually charged. So now his condition will affect his money. I personally think Usher needs to have a news conference. He needs to acknowledge, of course, that he has herpes because it is in the court record and it's a public record. And maybe he needs to do some actual educating the public on his condition and talking about why it is encouraged to be open and honest with people. Because this is a situation that he has ignite based on him not being truthful and open and honest. So this girl, when she's a lady, I keep saying girl, but I feel bad for her because sometimes people do things that take away your power. I believe when you are not open and honest about your conditions and what's going on with your body and what's going on in your life, and you don't let people know that, and you're getting to know them and they're investing emotions, because that's one of the biggest things about having sex. A lot of people get angry and upset because they've invested time in you. They've invested energy in you, and they've invested their emotions, and they've opened up their hearts. So if you are in a situation where you are investing your emotions, you're investing your feelings, you're opening up your heart to people, you need to be open and honest and transparent. Do not take someone's choice away because you are not ready to be open honest. So that's my spiel for today. Opinionated.com, talking about sex. Of course, I'm going to upload this video to the Opinionated Facebook page, and I will put it on a blog. If the video was informational, if it was encouraging, if you think it'll help somebody, please share it. I'm going to hope that it stops raining because I am trying to get out of Chicago for a couple of days because I never travel. I'm not a big traveler. Of course, the day that I do choose to travel, it rains. So thank you so much for listening to me yap, and let's talk about sex in a healthy way and abstinence. I'm pushing abstinence, especially for young people. Sex is dangerous, can be dangerous. So, I sound like a fanatic, but for all intent purposes, thank you, Tangi, especially young people. I get so afraid when I think about young people because, I'm pulling up these statistics and these numbers, and in certain demographics, it ain't looking good, and not just for herpes. It's not looking good for a lot of stuff that's going on here, y'all. So, if we got young people in our lives, let's have these discussions with them. I'm reading a comment from Damar. Okay, Damar, I will try to bring you one. You're hilarious. So let's start talking to our young people. You know, a lot of we growing up, we didn't get these conversations, but it's dangerous out here, and your life can change a lot just based on being in the moment, just based on somebody not being truthful and honest about what's going on in their body. Hey, Lisa. Good morning, Lisa. She said, break it down. Speak to the young people waiting for marriage. You know what? There's nothing wrong with waiting. I believe that once upon a time ago, it used to be pushed and the conversation changes. And remember, pay attention to when conversation changes. A lot of stuff is about money and politics. And most of the people that change the conversations have money and they have a political base. So we got to pay attention to that too. Let's help our young people. A lot of us are old. I'm 40. So as we get older, we do better, and it is good to share our life experiences and some of the things that we go through. You never know. You could have something that happened to you growing up, or something that's going on in your life that could bless somebody else's life and to keep them out of a world of trouble. So Mr. Opinionated signing off.